Well, Sip and Sonder is a gallery event where we're inviting the community to come and view a series of maps that were drawn by people who are living with dementia and or somebody supporting someone living with dementia. And the maps are about people's connections with friends and family and others, as well as connections to the natural environment, or what we call blue and green spaces, or times of connection to self, and how those connections give us energy to continue to live well, living with dementia, or where perhaps connections are actually draining energy from us, and how we might think about how we can deal with those connections that are drawing energy from us.
The showcase was aimed to educate those in attendance, but also to stimulate conversation around the importance of social health and connections. The goal is to learn more about how dementia affects people's relationships.
Well, what we're hoping is that we'll develop further insights and understandings of what actually constitutes support for somebody who's living with dementia or affected by it, and how people can build on their natural connections, whether it's people or whether it's time out in their garden, or whether it's time sitting and reading a good book, to help them navigate the ups and the downs of living with dementia.
Dementia can change relationships with loved ones, including family and friends.
Having dementia is still a very stigmatized disease. Families don't like to talk about it. The assumption is that the whole experience is very negative. So what we wanted to show is also some of the very positive moments when a family is affected by dementia, and some of the connections that are not just related to people, but also connections to the environment or spending time by themselves, how they can give people energy. And some connections that we assume are strong may actually be draining and negative for people. So in terms of how we provide support for people with dementia, it's allowing us to really think how we can strengthen those connections that are important to people. So dementia really is one of those health conditions that affects the whole families. Typically we focus on a spouse or a care partner as the main person, but when we talk to families, it really affects the whole family, the wider family, and also friends often within their networks.
Nipissing University is playing an important role in gathering information to allow those with dementia to live a fuller life.
Well, Nipissing University is leading a new service called Rare Dementia Support Canada. And this is a service that we developed about 11 months ago. We're only 11 months in. And this is a support community for people living with dementia, but people living with the rarer dementias that are typically younger in onset. And so we're building a connection for people living across Canada, and that connection is primarily a virtual one where we're delivering supports, whether those are peer supports or whether those are professionally led supports, to help people navigate the challenges of getting a diagnosis when you're living with a dementia that's atypical or not Alzheimer's disease, or when you're much younger, so people living with dementia in their 40s and 50s and 60s. And so all of this is really important to Nipissing University to raise awareness in terms of Canadians and others living with dementia, and how as individuals and how as families and how as communities we can continue to build support so people can continue to live well.